Hello, it's your friend Phil here, Project Management Trainer and Coach. How do you ace the PMP exam questions about ITTOs? It's by applying the 6 W's and 1 H. You often hear people say, memorize, memorize. Well, I'll tell you that memorization can only take you so far on an exam like the PMP. On the CAPM, it might be helpful to memorize, but on the PMP, you need a lot more than memorization to deal with the ITTO questions, because the ITTO questions are not straight questions such as what is an output of this or where does this come from? No, no, no. It is built around scenarios. It's scenario driven. So for you to ace these questions, you need to apply the 6 W's and 1 H I'm about to show you. The first W is, what is the ITTO? As you take a look at an ITTO, ask yourself the question, what is this? And the what of an ITTO can take different dimensions. Is it an input? Is it a tool and technique? Is it an output? If you don't know pinpoint precise that a tool and technique is a tool and technique, or even more precisely, that a particular item is a technique versus a tool, or is an input versus an output, it could be troublesome on certain questions. So know in totality what the ITTO is, distinguish it from a process, from an input, from an output, if it is indeed a tool or technique. And even more specifically, know what the meaning of technique is versus tool. Know what an input is versus an output and why. You got to know this really well before you take your exam. When is the ITTO used is the next W. Is it used in initiating predominantly, or planning, or executing, or monitoring and controlling, or maybe it is just used in scope, like product analysis? Is it just used in one process? Is it an output of just one process, like WPD is an output of direct and managed project work only? Is it an input to just one process, like work performance information is only an input to monitor and control project work? Or final product, service, and result transition is an output only of closed project or phase? You need to know the intricacies. The next W is, why is the ITTO being used? What are we really seeking to achieve? Are there many roads to achieve the same goal with other tools and techniques? What is so unique about this output? Is it an output of many places? But more predominantly, the tools and techniques are troublesome on the exam because you need to know where and why and when it's being used. Does this make sense as to why cramming is not the answer? Why is the ITTO being used? This needs to be answered by you, the exam taker. Know the relevance of the tools and techniques in particular. This, the why, is all about the tools and techniques predominantly. The next W is, where is the ITTO being used? Again, the tools and techniques are very troublesome. I can guarantee you, if you test yourself on page 686 to 693 or 694, you'll find gaps that need to be closed as far as where those unique tools and techniques are being used, or where are those grouped tools and techniques being used? How many processes? The tables on page 686 of the PMP guide will help you know that. And then again, which process does the ITTO, now this is more about the inputs and outputs, which process or processes do those inputs or outputs go to? You see the theme? We can segregate the ITTOs into inputs and outputs, or tools and techniques, or just inputs, or just outputs. You need to be all over this. There are many permutations and combinations of all these, but I'm hoping that this gets you thinking about ITTOs differently. The next W, who is responsible for the ITTO? project manager, project team member, project sponsor? Who? Ultimately, the accountability is with the project manager, but when you think about the different processes, there are other players who could come in to the picture. Who is responsible for the ITTO? Who is responsible to provide the input? You say business case. Do you know the sponsor is responsible for that document? You say project charter. Again, the sponsor signs off on it. Now, when it comes to other documents, there could be other people involved. When you talk about the professionals working with you, they could be involved as well. But you really need to narrow down the focus of who could be working this tool and technique. It's not just the PM. For every single one, it could be someone else. Last but not least, how is the ITTO used? This is where you need to be pragmatic and give examples. Remember the website. I tell you about this website all the time. It is tiny.cc/Sigma PMO. I'll write it out for you, just in case you have not seen it before. It's tiny.cc/Sigma, as in Six Sigma, PMO. Check out the website. It belongs to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. And on that website, you have got several examples of items talked about in the PMBOK guide, ITTOs to be precise. I hope this gives you some clarity and guidance about why cramming ITTOs will not get you very far. It may make you comfortable in remembering terms, but it will certainly not help you when those situational questions come out to play. Remember, we have live training ongoing right now. That may be the silver bullet to help you ace the exam and take out the baddies. So go to Praizion.com or pmsucceed.com and sign up for the training that we're currently offering. We look forward to seeing you. Lots of you have already jumped on the bandwagon and are in the middle of this awesome training happening right now. We look forward to seeing you. Take care and all the best on the exam.